sweet world. So this is my camera, and I want to tell you about what I shoot with and why. I've had a lot of people ask me over the years which camera to buy. It's usually people that are getting started in photography and they think I know everything about the gadgets, and I don't. So if you're looking for a technical overview of all the gadgety cameras that are out there and which one is perfect for you, I am not your girl. My technique has always from day one been to purchase the highest level of equipment that I can afford, which meant that I have taken out debt to be able to buy the camera equipment that I use. So like right out of the gate, when I decided to be, I had a point and shoot camera. I decided to be a professional photographer, and the next day I spent like $500 on my first DSLR. It was a starter thing. It wasn't that great. I used it for about a month, and then I upgraded and spent thousands of dollars on my first proper camera. I have a cat that wants to come inside, so please join us. I went immediately into Canon 5D Mark II, and this was like 7 years ago. I upgraded a year or two ago to the Canon 5D Mark IV. Those are the two camera bodies that I've used for my entire career, and I love them. I'm not going to comment on the difference between Canon or Nikon. I will only testify to the fact that the Canon 5D and all of its different Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, Mark V, whatever, are amazing. They're really great for portraits. They're great for a lot of things, but I shoot portraits and I shoot video, promotional videos and portrait videos. So it has never let me down, and I love it. The biggest benefit of having the Mark V, I love the menu and the screen in the back. It's a touch screen. It's beautiful, bright, giant, very easy to navigate, and that's a huge thing. When you spend a lot of money on a camera, it does not get more difficult or more complicated. The more money you spend on the camera, you're investing in a better piece of equipment. It's easier to use. So people come to me, they are getting their first camera, and they are nervous that my camera is complicated and that a cheap entry-level camera is basic and easy to use, and that is not the case. The first cameras that are out there that are being sold in the hundreds of dollars are complicated as hell. I don't know how to use them. They are not self-explanatory, and I hate it when someone hands me the camera and asks me to explain to them how to use it or take a photo for them, because it's so clunky, because they have not invested the money in making the user experience enjoyable. Unlike the high-end quality cameras. This camera body cost me about $4,000, and I picked it up and immediately knew what to do with it. Obviously I had a little experience, but it was easy to figure it out, and I just love it. Same thing goes for the lenses. When I first started, I got 3 lenses, all prime lenses, all Canon, and they were in the middle range. So by that, it was an 85 1.8, a 50 1.4, and a 28 1.8, I think. They're all somewhere between like $300 to $600, and they are good enough that you can be shooting professionally on those. But it was after about a year of shooting that I then took all my savings and I upgraded to lenses that cost anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. So I tried out the 70 to 200, 24 to 70, all those zoom lenses. I still don't like them. I like shooting with prime lenses. That means that the lens is fixed at one length. You cannot zoom in closer. If you want to zoom in closer, you have to move your feet and actually move your camera closer to your subject. And I like shooting like that because it means that I cannot get stuck standing in one spot and zooming out. It requires that I move around, that I interact with my environment. Also, the quality of the photos is higher when you have a fixed lens. Fixed lens, prime lens, there's less glass that the light has to travel through. And when the light travels through the glass, it loses quality. So you want to minimize the amount of glass, which means prime, fixed. That means that if I'm not running around doing this, it means I can have my hands free and I just use autofocus on here. If I want to manually focus, it takes a lot of practice, but it's very possible to do it. After years of shooting, I built up a collection of like 7 different lenses, and I would take them all to a wedding, I would take them all to a portrait session and switch them out and try and get a lot of different variety for my clients. But as time went by, 1, it became very annoying because I had to carry all this equipment. 2, it became very distracting because I'm trying to interact with people and I'm constantly fiddling around with my gear. 3, my work would feel kind of scattered because I'm so focused on using a lens to get the style or the variety rather than being just creative with one lens. And 4, I don't have a 4, so we'll stop there. The minute I downsized, I decided to only shoot with 2 lenses, a 35mm 1.4 and a 100mm 2.8. The reason I shot with those 2 was because the 35 meant that I could have portraits, I could have wider images, and it was also great for video. Then I'd also, in my pocket, carry my 100. It's a long, skinny lens, so literally it would fit in my pocket. And that was great if I needed to shoot a further distance, like if I needed that zoom quality, I could use that. Also, the long barrel lenses, the long lens, a 100, it creates a creamier, more elegant looking photograph because it's compressing the background. It's like when you look through a longer barrel, that's going to give you more of this portrait look where the person you're focusing on is clear and the background is more blurry, more soft. So it's more artistic in some ways. Many people do not like to shoot with the 100mm as portrait because it takes a long time to lock in on focus. So that means that it's hard to take pictures quickly and it's hard to ensure that your photos are going to be crisp because if you're taking quickly, they might be blurry. So it takes a lot of practice to learn how to shoot portraits with that lens, especially children. But if you can do it, so beautiful. So I loved those 2. And video-wise, because I do also specialize in video, I wanted a lens like the 35, so wider lenses, the 35, the 24, those 2 lenses are great for video. And if you start to shoot with longer focal distances, like 50, 85, 100, now this long barrel, it's not so great for video because it's very sensitive to movement, because think about how long it is. Any movement that happens here is quite dramatic at the end of the nose. Whereas these shorter lenses are pulled in closer to the camera body, so it's easier to keep this stable. So for a moving picture, you want as much stability as you can. And in the last year, I stopped bringing the 100mm, purely for ease. I am shooting just on this right here. It's the 35mm. I go on my shoulder like this and show up at a photo shoot, and I'm done. I don't have to carry a bag. I shoot with a 32GB card so that I don't have to carry extra cards, although sometimes I do, just as a backup. It's nice, like if you have an extra card and an extra battery in your pocket, it's such minimal gear to carry, it's just a good backup idea, but then this is the whole setup. Now that might feel very limiting, like, but what if I want to use other lenses? Well, what if you do? You know what I found? I very rarely ever think about that. Because when I go on a shoot, if you have all these lenses to use, they're in your awareness. Which one should I be using? If you go on a shoot and you only have one lens, you're not thinking about other lenses. The lenses are out of the picture, which means all you have is right here, which means you can just think about the person you're photographing and how to get the best photos out of this lens. It's a challenge that I gave myself when I started photography. I would force myself to only use one lens, but it's very difficult to do that when you first start out because your skills are not very honed, and so you rely on different lenses and you're not sure which one to use. And it's actually the best piece of advice I have if you're starting. just get one lens and become a master at that lens and forget about all the others. Then once you have some experience and some more money, invest in a second lens. Get to know that one. And then you'll start to understand what each of them do. They're very precise tools for specific situations. Not by a rule book, but by what you decide you want to use them for. When you shoot a lot, you will learn why you like different lenses in different situations. And you will learn which lens is your most versatile, go-to, I can use it for anything. For me, it's this 35. Sure, there are other lenses out there that I would love to shoot on, but if I have this one, I can't go. I know I'm going to be okay. I can get whatever I want pretty much. Or I have tricks up my sleeve to make it work. Yeah, and then for a long time I didn't shoot with a strap because I actually found a strap made me more careless because I could just have my camera fling around and accidentally hit things, and I put too much trust in the strap. So I just carried it in my bare hands, which meant that I held onto it for dear life. It also meant the strap didn't get in the way. It was just me and the camera, and now all the time the strap is in my way and I'm very annoyed by it. I've also used a strap that just goes over my hand and holds the camera onto my hand, like a hand harness. That's pretty cool actually. I really like that one because it gives you a little bit more stability. And I've also used a crossbody strap, which is very nice, especially on long days, like if you're shooting a wedding or walking a long distance through town, like for a fashion shoot or something. It's great. The main reason I have this strap on here at the moment, though, is stability for video. So I've used a lot of different equipment for video stabilization. There's lots of funky tools that you can use, and at the end of the day, again, because I enjoy photographing fast-moving children, I don't want to carry all this clunky equipment. Not only does it slow you down, but it takes out a lot of it takes away a lot of possibilities. If you're photographing kids, to get magical moments, you need to get down there with the children, and they're not going to be as open to playing with you, and you're not going to be as physically capable of joining in their games if you're carrying equipment. So by having this strap, it's very simple, and it allows me to push the camera out away from my body, and that tension creates a tripod, 3 points, the left side and right side of my neck against the camera. It's a 3-point stabilization system. And my hands push outwards like this, and now my elbows go into my body, and it's very stable. I can run after children, I can bend down, I can go in all directions, and if I need to, I can lift my arms away from my body and keep pushing. I can even use one hand sometimes if necessary, and the other one can be over here focusing. Who knows what's going on with the shoot, but it really helps. So if I'm doing a lot of video, I'll be using this strap. If I don't have a strap though, I can still shoot video. You just have to use your elbows more in your body. Very stable with your breath as well. It's like shooting a gun. You have to breathe in, breathe out, shoot when you're not breathing so there's not movement happening. Yeah. So that's kind of a rundown on the equipment that I'm using at the moment. And if you're shopping for, this started because people are asking me what to buy. So that's to give you an idea of how your equipment will evolve over time. You try lenses, you learn what you like, you eventually will figure out your gear. But I could not have known from day one that this is the setup that I like, and nor could anyone have told me. So my advice to you if you're shopping for cameras is be aware that this whole process is going to happen. Look at your price range, buy the most expensive one you can that seems like a good fit based on what the reviews say, but really, if you're just starting, I don't think there's going to be much of a difference that you'll even probably notice. I recommend doing prime lenses, the best quality body you can. People ask, should I get the lens first or the camera first? Which is more important, to have a better quality lens or a better quality camera? What a question. This is a difficult question to answer. I like to say, think of lenses a little bit more long-term, like it's a piece of glass. So if you take good care of it, it could last you a lifetime. The camera body is something that's going to go out of date quicker. It's more of a machine with moving parts that's going to break, and the system on the inside, the computer, is going to get old, and they update the models all the time. So in that sense, when you're investing in them, for both of them, get the best you can afford for both of them. And when you buy a lens, think of it long term and maybe upgrading or getting the best lens that you're planning on having for your whole life, and then slowly upgrading the camera to match it. It does go back and forth though, because a great camera with a shitty lens is kind of shitty photos, and vice versa. If I had to choose, if I had to choose, I would probably get a better quality camera body, because like I said at the very beginning of this video, the body is your user experience. So I want to have a really fun time using this camera, very easy to navigate, and then I know that if I want a better quality photo, I just gotta get better quality glass on the front of it. I don't want to have this beautiful piece of glass on the front and then just be so irritated that I can't make the camera do what I want because it's a complicated system. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions. I think that's all I'm going to share about it today. It's a huge subject, obviously. And if you have any specific questions, feel free, leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. I do take a little bit of time at the moment to get back to you, but I will. My name is Chamonix. My companies are the Happy Film Company, Chamonix Films, and I also create music and interview musicians on the Wilde Musicians podcast, which I do photography and video for over there too. So those are all places where you can find my work and see what I'm doing with my camera. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Hey, kitty. Do you want to say hello to the world? This is the disruptive cat. Meow. Say goodbye. Say goodbye.